Welcome back to the Steve Storytime reading room. How many reading rooms have I had so far? That'll probably be a lot more. Anyway, I'm going to continue the series of introduction scenes for the members of Metzgerhund, the band, as taken from the very first Metzgerhund Retreat novella called Imperial Rules. This one is for the band's lead singer, their Minister of Social Affairs, the two-sport athlete, part-time guitarist, and full-time ego trip, Reggie Milson. Minister of Social Affairs, huh? What could that possibly mean? Let's find out. Reggie Milson was just as excited about starting this new chapter in his already active life as anyone else in Metzgerhund. But he wasn't about to lose his composure by running from the bus stop to his house like a hyperactive preschooler on a sugar bender. He walked in a steady but relaxed pace down the steep sidewalk and past the hedges that divided the yards, being mindful about his posture. He already knew everything else about his appearance was perfect. His recent change in hairstyle caught plenty of attention. He re-dyed his black hair to a dark brown, then spiked the front and added a rusty red color to the spike's edge. He walked past the last hedge and saw Anna standing in his driveway, holding a basketball. Exactly where he expected her to be. "You're a few months early for your next lesson," Reggie called to her. "But you promised me a game before you left." One corner of Anna's mouth rose up into a slight smile. "I can understand if you want to avoid playing me." Reggie felt his heart pounding a little harder. He also noticed himself walking faster. "Calm down," he told himself. "Slow your pace. She's right there. She's not going anywhere. She came to you. Just play your usual game and everything will work exactly like you want it to." He dropped his book bag onto the asphalt driveway and headed straight for Anna. She bounced past him the ball. "I thought you had a summer job to get ready for." Reggie dribbled a few steps towards her. "I'm always willing to spend time with someone who wants to raise their game to my level." Anna crouched down to defend. "You still refer to yourself as his oneness?" "Who else deserves that title?" "You need to outperform someone at my level before you can earn that kind of persona." Reggie felt an enthusiastic grin stretch across his face. This was exactly the kind of confidence he wanted to hear from those he kept company with. Anna had a face that was more eye-catching than most of the girls at school. It's a good start. She had nearly the same light olive complexion he did. He found that attractive, but probably because he liked that about himself. She had a strong, athletic body that gave her a physical show of force and confidence. Again, it was something he liked about himself. Most importantly, though, he knew Anna could play ball. Reggie looked down at Anna's feet to get an idea which way she thought she wanted to go, then quickly moved his concentration towards her waist to see which direction her center of gravity was taking her. He looked up and caught her gaze and let her know through his sharp brown eyes that he was interested in her. For a split second, the competitive tenseness in Anna's face went lax. Perfect. He drove right past her. She sounded a frustrated grunt. He turned and walked backwards towards the basket, dribbling the ball between his legs, making sure his smile was more flirtatious than taunting. She gritted her teeth and charged towards him. He moved to within 3 feet of the garage door, then held the ball over his head and jumped straight up. She jumped towards him and swung her arm to swat the ball out of his hand. He flicked his wrist, and the ball arced up and into the basket without touching the rim. His landing was just as smooth. Anna crashed into him while her feet were still off the ground. Their two bodies collided against the garage door, with hers pinning him against the aluminum. Reggie noticed she didn't make an attempt to move away. "You'll miss our games while I'm gone," he spoke in a soft tone. "I think you're going to miss them more than I will," she whispered back. "You might not be able to find anyone else to take my place. You might not even find anyone who wants to play ball with you. You've never seen one of my solo performances, so how could you possibly know what I'm capable of getting anyone to do?" Anna leaned closer. "Why don't you tell me about it?" Just past Anna's shoulder, Reggie could see Billy's white van pull up to the curb. He turned his attention right back to Anna. Billy honked his horn. "Your ride is here," Anna said. "You want me to leave now? I'm disappointed. You're hoping I'll leave before I find out you're not up for this pace." Reggie was distracted by the sight of a dark blue, older model Mustang rumble up to the curb and park right behind Billy's van. He cursed inside his mind, entirely in Spanish. "What's wrong?" Anna asked. Reggie's mind flooded with the urgency of getting himself out of here as fast as he could. He sidestepped Anna without watching for her reaction. "You have 2.5 months to get yourself ready for me." He jogged into the house and grabbed his 2 oversized and overstuffed travel bags, then moved past Anna. If she was still standing there, he didn't bother to look. Grabbed his book bag off the pavement and headed straight for Billy's van. Billy got out and opened the back hatch. Reggie thought he heard the Mustang's door open. He put his bags in the van and headed for the shotgun seat without looking back to find out. Billy climbed into the driver's seat. "Sorry I'm a bit behind schedule. Last-minute interview with the street team." Reggie plopped down and shut the door. "Let's go. We don't want to be late." "Isn't that your mom's boyfriend?" Reggie stared straight ahead. "Let's just get out of here. What's going... Drive, please, por favor," or however you say it in your language. Billy drove the van up the hill and turned onto the main road. "I think that was the first time I've ever seen you back down from anything or anyone." Reggie stared straight ahead. "I didn't back down. He paused, then realized how childish he just made himself sound. "Sorry, I lied. Duh." Reggie caught himself slumping deeper into the seat. This was out of character for him to be such a victim of circumstances, and he absolutely hated the feeling of having unwanted actions and emotions happening to him instead of him dictating them. It reminded him too much of his early days playing basketball, where he spent most of the game watching everything happen around him without being a part of it. His mom, a former player in the Mexican Women's League, and being the proactive parent she was, taught him to get into the action whether he believed he was ready or not. Make things happen. Let his teammates benefit from his great plays or recover from his mistakes. Reggie straightened his posture. "Senior Cuellar has been helping me improve my offensive game so I get more playing time on the school team." Billy nodded. "I seem to remember about a month after he started dating your mom, he spent a lot of time with you on the court. Next thing I saw, the coach moved you from off-the-bench shooting guard to starting point guard, and that's when the team actually started winning. The praise and the success felt good, and I wanted more." Billy cringed. I know what you're like when you get that way. It's worse than you know. I made the mistake of asking Senior Quare to point out anything about my game that he could help me improve. He took that as an invitation to dictate how I did everything in my life, including getting me to reevaluate my singing aspirations. In other words, he wanted me to ditch music completely. You know better than anyone else in the band, that's no bueno for me. This explains the time frame you suddenly became available for band practices more often. Reggie finally allowed himself to relax. You understand. That's why I want to ask you for a favor. I'm listening. I want you to agree to push me to be the best singer that's ever come out of Severn Heights. I thought I was already doing that for you. Push me harder. Done. And in exchange, I want you to warn me if I ever start sounding like Jesus Cuellar Part 2. Reggie laughed. With your ambition, Billy said, there won't be much for me to do. But I know what it's like to go up against the expectations of a parent. Or, in your case, a soon-to-be parent. Reggie frowned. Don't remind me of that. Sorry. But just so you know, you're not going up against him nearly as much as you think. What do you say that? Your biggest challenge is that you're going up against your own ego. What could possibly be tougher to overcome than that? Reggie sounded a mild laugh. Can't argue with truth. If that excerpt piqued your interest in the Metzgerhund series, you can find the link to the digital version of that story, Imperial Rules, and the other 9 stories in the Metzgerhund Retreat series in the description below. Also, while I have your attention, if I could please ask for the favor of helping me with the YouTube algorithm. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and that'll help out tremendously. In the meantime, there'll be more readings to go. I've got one more to go for this series, and I'm going to work on that soon. Maybe. I never know what I'm doing. Thanks for stopping by.